Hello everybody and welcome back to Imperator, where last episode we made Siracine into our vassal, and we're still working of course on integrating Gera. That's going to take a while yet, and we're working on it. We will get there. Unfortunately for us, Bactria did not become our vassal. We were somewhat hopeful, but you know, it's not the end of the world. It's completely and utterly fine. So our next goal is probably to clean up some of these very little guys like this, and there's these guys here. They are our vassal, and actually I kind of want to start integrating them. That'll be done pretty quickly. So we'll get going on that. That seems fine. I also do want to start making Siracine a little happier with us. Turns out they're very angry right now. So we're going to do this first. We're going to give up any claims that we have on them. That is mission number 1. And then we want to begin improving opinion with them. So that will boost opinion over time, and that's already looking a lot better. Fantastic. Okay, is that actual colonizable territory? No, but we can call down an omen, and that will be Esther. Fantastic. And of course, we know that we have some cities that we can build in. So first up is going to be Dokimion, and that is out over this direction. Okay, so that is right here, and we know that we want to put in a pair of Freeman districts here. Honestly, though, we don't need this great temple anymore. I'm going to get rid of that, and we're going to put in a tax office. Perfect. Third Navy is lacking a commander. I don't care. That's fine. It can lack a commander if it wants. Next up is Astakos, and that is up over here. Okay. I think that's a new location. Yeah, so I think a fort here makes a lot of sense, controlling this little entry here. So I kind of want to bump this up to 7 out of 6 fort points are currently being used here. I kind of want to remove these 2 fort points here. Okay. And this has 3 fort points. And is that counting because that's our vassal? 3 out of 6. Interesting. So this is 1 fort point here. We could certainly take this up to here. That's definitely a thing we can do. Now, we produce salt here, so that looks fine. We could keep the earthworks here since we're intending on this being a fort and holding this area. Although, ultimately, we're going to move that here, aren't we? We absolutely are. So let's actually get rid of the fort here. This is going to be annexed soon, and we'll migrate into that as our fort in this region. So let's get rid of the library here. No port, no commercial district, no noble district. The aqueduct is interesting. This would eventually become possibly a metropolis, although this might be the capital once that gets annexed. I'm not sure which it will be. So for the moment, I'm going to leave this aqueduct, and we'll put in a pair of slave traders. We'll put in some taverns, and that'll be good for now. We can take a martial perk, and sure, we'll take 5% discipline. That's really nice. So next up is Chios, which of course is right here where we just deleted 2 forts. And what do we want to put in here? Well, this would be a tavern, a forum, and a Freeman district. So that looks absolutely fine. Next up would be Shechem, which is back up to 2 building slots. Okay, so this is already a metropolis. That's noted. And that's where those 2 building slots came from, I'm sure. So next up would be Zukar, out over this direction. No issue there. We'll put in a pair of Freeman districts. And these guys, have they finished their road yet? We know that there's not very much being built here. It's not quite done, but it's pretty close. So that seems good. 47? Okay, noted. I was just checking the progress there. So that's all looking reasonably good. Now, as far as these missions go, we're working on it. I mean, securing Arabian trade is going to be interesting. The real thing that's blocking us from moving on in this mission tree is Esther's legacy. We need to take this from Gera, and that'll happen one of 2 ways. Either Gera will have a rebellion and we'll take it that way, or we'll get them annexed. That's pretty much the only 2 options at this juncture. We could free Gara and then annex them, but I think that's a worse solution at this point, to be honest. It's a possible solution, but it's not a great one. Now, we've got a lot of forts out over here, and a lot of these forts are not, strictly speaking, very necessary. We may want to go through and eliminate some of them. Things like this are not necessarily great, but especially when you start getting, like, down here. I think we eliminated all of the forts from this region. Yes. But up over here, there's definitely some forts that really don't need to exist exactly. So there's that. Now I'm going to take these guys off of road build. They're going to walk up over here. And the question is, do we have a CB on this? We do not. So we should probably start fabricating one. Okay, so that should go pretty quick. That's going to be done in November. Yeah, that's going to go very quick indeed. Okay, so next up is going to be Tadmar. So that is out over here. Sure. And this is a potential metropolis candidate, so we could definitely do that. We're also negative on food, so I'm going to put in a farmer's market. Similarly, I'd like to check through these other cities here and see if they have any open building slots. This one does, so we'll put a farmer's market in there. We're now positive in food. That's understood. So we were only negative slightly because it was winter, but that is still fine. As that grows, we're going to need more food. So we'll put this guy in here. That looks absolutely A-okay. This is going to rebel in 3 months. Oh, my. Okay. So in that case, we need to move over here. We'll just deal with that. We'll let it rebel. That seems fine. So next up is going to be Edry. So that is out over here. Okay, so we're not on full food. I'm going to put in a farmer's market, and then I'm going to do a library. Cool. Next would be Ganzak, which is out over this direction. Okay, so we would definitely put in a tax office here, and maybe even an aqueduct. What is the capital of this region? This is the capital. So we might be interested in getting a second aqueduct here. And that would allow us to upgrade that to a metropolis eventually. So let's do that for the moment. We do need a new oratory researcher. It's a scorned family. I'm going to put this guy in, and then we have a scorned family. This guy is going to be in charge of this navy for now. It's not an actual job. It's a fake job. Okay, checking in on the status of our road construction. We've got a ways to go here for sure. So that's understood. They're going to take a little while to get all of that done. This navy should really make its way up over here and make its way into port at Donum. That'll be fine. Is this a city here? It is. I feel like we should have a port here. There's 2 building slots available. The fort, I think, is okay. It's going to be hard for us to defend this area. We don't need a conscription camp, and this is kind of a research city, but this produces steppe horses. I'm going to remove these segments of research that they've got here. I'm going to put in a foundry. We're going to put in mills, but I'm also going to put in a fortress and an earthworks here. Kind of like that. It's a weird sort of location, but that'll be fine. Okay, next up is going to be Artishat. And we know that this rebellion is going to mess up our buildings in that area, which is, you know, not ideal. This is already a metropolis. I don't think we need an additional aqueduct here. I think all we really need here is a pair of tax offices. So that'll be okay. Next up would be... Hang on. Ah, there's that War of Independence. Yep. Okay. So as expected, they are right out over here. I'm going to have these guys stop, and we're going to force march them in. They didn't quite make it as close as I would have liked, but they're pretty close, actually. So we should be able to catch this army pretty easily. Oh, yeah. So that's a stack wipe. Next, I want to move down here. These guys are kind of awkwardly moving. But let's just get this siege done for the time being. We're going to be blocked from going too much further in here unless we wanted to go up this way. But it doesn't really matter. We'll just have this under control pretty easily. A 1K stack up here attacks us, huh? Moving out into Macedon? Sure. Well, they don't really have any chance here. This is not going to be a thing. So that's all looking good. Now, out of curiosity, I'm wondering how many ships we have queued up here. We can see, actually, 99 of each. So that's probably fine for the moment. Yeah, that looks absolutely A-okay. So I'm not concerned about that at the moment. And these guys, they're going to be done with their road build relatively soon. I'm wondering how these guys are doing. It's going to take them a little bit. Okay. So, engineered outcome, indeed, and we took over this location. We're going to want to head deeper in here because we know that they have troops out here, and this is probably not going to get fully auto-capped. Hello. Okay. So their troops were here. Understood. So Calchedon has been integrated, and this is fine. We'll just offer refuge to all of these guys. We're now in a war against East Omana, and we'll look at that in just a moment. That'll be interesting. But I'm going to let this cap happen, and then we're going to get this rebellion under control. Okay, so that auto-capped, and now we're going to take this province here. So that is absolutely expected. Okay, we're going to lose half a point of AE. That'll be fine. This became the capital over here. Noted. They destroyed, like, all of the buildings in this city. Okay. And then this city, they put in a fort. I'm going to remove that fort, and there should be a mill here. So that city is good to go. We can check each of these. So this would be a farming settlement. This is a colonia. I feel like this should be a slave estate. There we go. This would be a farming settlement here. This would absolutely be a farming settlement. Slave estate is fine here. Slave estate here is okay. This should be a farming settlement. This should be a farming settlement. This is a slave estate. That seems okay. Here we produce olives. So we'll make this into a production city. Something along the lines of that should be fine. I'm not sure what the food situation here is going to end up looking like. Okay, so this is clearly a research city, and we're just going to put in an academy. So there's all of that handled. Now, what's this East Oman nonsense? Okay, unfortunately, the rebellion isn't up here. So that's noted. We are a very long ways away from this. I'm going to hire these mercenaries, and I'm also thinking about maybe hiring these mercenaries. So these guys, we would have force march. Actually, no. I would have them be on unit reorg and just slowly make their way down here. These guys would be on unit reorg and would also slowly make their way down. They're low on morale, and we definitely want their morale to regenerate somewhat before we go too far in here. We're about to have a month tick, though. Okay, so there's a month tick, and we can see a 1K stack. That's not very frightening. So, I mean, we're going to take this from Gara, most likely. And you can see here, that definitely dropped when that is going to be done. So that's good. And these guys up over here, there's no road to build here. They don't destroy road, so that's nice. We're going to head up over to here, and we're just going to take this over as soon as that's done. But this will be absolutely fine. I don't think this second unit of mercs was necessary, but it is a useful thing to have around just in case. It's insurance. Okay, so we have a decent amount of morale here, but we definitely are interested in getting more. And that's why we have this second unit of mercs on the way in, just in case something happens to these. So that'll be good. We're seeing them run around with a few very small stacks down here, but this seems fine. I'm not very concerned about this. Not very concerned at all. This guy just died. Okay, well, there's a battle happening here. It's kind of irrelevant. Armenia needs a governor, and there's a scorned family at this moment. So we could absolutely consider putting in someone. Maybe. Okay, this guy. He's terrible at the job. But we'll put him in and regret every moment of it. Perfect. So we're at minus 7% here. Eventually this will proceed. And of course, these guys are in position up here. We are going to have this claim fabrication completed very, very soon. Going to be done in September of 899. So that's fine. Are we taking attrition here? We are, but to be honest, I don't care. Look at how much manpower we have. It's fine. It really doesn't matter. So that siege is going to be continuing for a while. While that's happening, let's work on some of these. Oh, this is spelled with an A. Let's work on some of these cities, so that'll be fine. This is out over here, and we would absolutely be putting in a pair of forums. Looks good. And then we would next do Aravik. This guy died as well. Okay. So Aravik is down over here. This is clearly intended to be a research city, but I'm not sure what the tavern is for. Let's get rid of the tavern and the tax office. And we would, of course, be interested in putting in a citizen district and a pair of noble districts, as well as a court of law. There we go. That'll do for now. We should go through at some point and evaluate all of our forts, but that's a big, big process. And I kind of don't feel like doing it right now. It's not strictly necessary, but it would be a useful thing to do. So we can come down here. We can see we're at 21% on that siege, so that's looking good. That'll happen very soon now. Ardabil is up over this direction, and we need to put in a pair of Freeman districts. Okay. Next is Absheron. Right up over here. Okay, the fort here is, I think, useful, and I'm going to bring this up a bit. There we go. And let's check in on this siege again. Yeah, 35%. This is going to be falling any tick now. So that sounds absolutely fantastic. Up to 42 with the additional mercs. So that looks great, and we'll get that finished up very shortly here. In the meantime, of course, we can build in Bori. Rhodos is prospering. Okay. Losing tyranny. We have a lot of tyranny. How did we get that much tyranny? That's interesting. We can definitely lose some tyranny. I don't recall getting that much tyranny, but sure. Losing tyranny is not bad in that case. Absolutely fine. I mean, you can see that the tyranny is dropping our aggressive expansion quite a bit faster, so there's that. But yeah, we definitely are interested in dropping that tyranny somewhat, mostly because of the cohort loyalty gain chance, threshold for civil war, and loyalty of characters. The aggressive expansion change is nice. Provincial loyalty is probably why that province rebelled, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so this siege is now won. I'm going to disband both of these units of mercs, and we're just going to wait for the auto cap. And we have our claim up here. So this is going to be an incredibly simple war, right? They don't have any allies, and all we got to do is walk in here. War's over. There's nothing else to be done. So we're going to auto cap all of this over here. These guys did not... Okay, that's going to be awkward. I'm sure there'll be a time when the auto cap is going to give us all of this. Yeah, right now, actually. They didn't cap this. So that looks good. We're going to sue for peace. We're going to take this territory ourselves. This is not going back to Gera. Beautiful. So we will banish those of class and put the rest to the sword. That'll be fine. And up over here, are you guys done with your road build yet? They are. Okay, so we're going to move them down. And they're going to be sailing all the way down over to here, but not exactly in that way. Okay. So we're going to have them embark here. And now we're going to sail them over to here. This port is fine. So that'll be wonderful. How are these guys doing? They've still got a fair amount of road to build. So that looks good. This siege will be ending eventually. Fairly soon, in fact. So that looks good. we're going to need to... I think we already built road through this, didn't we? Because of Gera. Yeah, I was going to bring forces down here and build roads, but we already built roads all throughout Gera. Well, through the bits of Gera that we can reach. We haven't built roads out here. Although now we could. Now that I think about it. So that would mean that these guys would then come down this way, right? And they would want to head out this direction, making sure that we have a road going down like that. But then we'd want to come back up over this direction in a kind of awkward route, but something along the lines of that. And then they come back down over here, building their road like this, then doubling back and building the road up here. Then coming down this direction, connecting that here. Probably also doing a road connection here, just to be a little bit more thorough. And then we would build our road through all of this Siracenian territory. Kind of like that, although I think I would do a connection like that. Okay, so that's going to keep these guys busy for approximately ever. That's understood. What was that loyalty? 92? Okay, that's not a problem. So that looks good. We do need a governor for Upper Nubia and Assyria, and in both cases, we have a scorned family. I just put this guy in accidentally. I was trying to scroll. I did not intend to put him in, but I guess he's in now. So that seems fine. What else do we have for a scorned family? This guy. Cool. So that solves that problem. Now, what else do we... Ooh, wow. Vatum with the 10, huh? Well, that's rude. We lost one of our ships up over here to these guys. Very rude indeed. So we've got Vatum, and that has 10 building slots in it. So that's this city here. Okay, it's low on food. First thing I'm going to build is a farmer's market. And then we also have this settlement here. Do we have any other cities here? We do. So 2 and 13. I'm going to make this be our capital, but we can't do that yet. This is a settlement here. This really doesn't need to have a fortress. We're going to make that be a slave estate. And then everything out in here, I mean, this would be a slave estate here. Base metals, huh? Oh, that's a city. Okay. So it produces base metals. We would do something like that. I didn't realize this was a city here. So this is a settlement. This produces earthenware, so a slave estate would be fine. Here we produce base metals, so we want this to be production for sure. It would be something like that. This settlement here is going to be a slave estate. This is fine as is, it looks like. Actually, no. I want to get rid of that port and build a farming settlement. That is absolutely the way to go there. This is fish, so a farming settlement. This is fish, so a farming settlement. This is sheep, so a farming settlement. And then here we produce incense. Okay. I'm going to put in a farmer's market, and then we're going to make this production. Like that. So that'll be fine. That's all under control now. And these guys have finally arrived back on this side of our territory. So that's good. Although this location is not exactly where I want them to be anymore. Because the plan was to bring them down to build roads in that new territory, but we don't need roads there. So we could put them instead somewhere like here. That's okay. No problem there. Okay, so everything is going quite well at this point. We just need to finish up this siege and get this taken over. We're 21% here, and eventually that will happen. So we've got Payon that we could build in right down over here. Convenient. And this is a research city, so we would definitely put in an academy and then a library. Beautiful. Okay, up to 35 on that tick. So Antigonea Bithynius would be the next location. So that is Antigonea Bithynius out over here. Yet this is fine. He can have all that money. We don't need more money. We have so much money. We cannot spend all of our money. So we're going to put in a pair of tax offices so that we get more money. Oh boy. Okay, so next up is going to be Pap, which is down over here. Okay. So this would be 91. Is this already a metropolis? It's not. We should probably upgrade that to a metropolis. And then I'm also going to put in a pair of extra buildings. Cool. So this is integrated at this point, and that means, okay, so we can see we're using 4 out of 6 points. The first fort uses 3 points, and each subsequent fort uses 1. So this is 4, 5, and then 1 more would be 6. I'm going to get rid of this level of fort. We're going to put in this level of port. We're going to get rid of the library, put in the earthworks. We don't need a shipyard here, and we don't need commercial districts or academies. We produce cloth here. I'm going to make this a production city. I really feel like we don't need additional research here. So it would be something along the lines of that. Okay. So that looks fine for the moment. Now, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to have these guys continue to work on their road construction, but we're probably going to be going back to a fairly large war. Hang on. This is interesting. We may do something with this revolt here. We'll see. Maybe. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Hiro Marutsu, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.